Hello flightsimers, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the next full flight video. Today we are back in the Aerosoft A330 in the beautiful SAS livery, Scandinavian Airlines, and yeah, we are on a long haul crossing the pond from east to west. We are flying from Copenhagen over to Washington. So this means today we will have two beautiful airports in our flight. So here this one is the FlyTampa Copenhagen scenery, which I think most of you guys know, one of the, in my opinion, one of the best sceneries we have in the sim. And yeah, over at Washington we will have the Flightbeam Washington Dulles scenery, so that's also quite a good one in my opinion. So everything is in our favor in terms of the sceneries, and also the flight route I think will be quite nice. We are having a rather northerly route and flying across the tip of Norway, also reaching Iceland later on, and then Greenland before heading down towards Canada. So yeah, I think that's all looking like a pretty nice flight across the pond today. You can see cargos getting on and passengers as well. I believe this flight in reality is still rather operating for cargo reasons. However, I've put around 200 packs in there today, but also a considerable amount of cargo, I think around 16 tons. So after all, we have a good payload today, and yeah, of course not quite maxed out with takeoff weight. So maximum takeoff weight would be 233 tons, and today we will have 216. So still a few tons headroom there, but nevertheless quite a decent weight for an A330. And as GSX is further progressing on the boarding and cargo loading, we can start the flight setup in here. So yeah, that's the data. We will have a cost index of 10. Flight level 360 initially. I think we will be able to climb 380 quite soon after reaching cruise. And yeah, flight plan. Departure runway to be will today will be 04 right, which is not the longest one. We can see it nicely here. The 4 left is a bit longer, but 4 right should be fine for us. And then the departure will be the Mixi 2 Alpha, like this. Insert. And having a look at the chart, so we only climbed to a certain altitude. Let me check. Yeah, we climb to 600 feet approximately, and then we do a quick left-hand turn on heading 008 up to waypoint Charlie Hotel 369, and then do a 90-degree left-hand turn, and then sort of follow the star out to Mixi. And yeah, other than that, no really any constraint on this departure route. It just says initial cruise level or flight level is 070, so let's start this in here. And yeah, wind is already loaded in, so let me go to the second init page, and I think we have the load sheet down here. And let's see, 0 fuel at 160.3 with a 0 fuel weight center of gravity of 30.3 and block fuel of 56. That should be correct. Yeah, 56. That's looking good. Perfect. Right, and so our fuel prediction is 8.2 upon arrival. That's plenty. Perfect. So that should work out quite nicely. And yeah, regarding performance, I think we will do a flap 2 takeoff today, and we can see trim should be 2.3. I believe that's up 2.3. And that's the speeds, 144, 144, 152. Transition out to 5000 is correct, and flex temperature of 43. Okay, looking good so far. And yeah, just thinking, we have the winds in here. That's all done. This is looking good. Enough fuel on board. Alternate is Pittsburgh. Copy active. Right, and yeah, so we are all set on the MCDU preparation in that regard. We can have a look at the weather. So we have winds 9 knots from 350, so that will be a little bit of a crosswind during takeoff, not too much. Winds are also variable, and then yeah, perfect weather, 9 degrees, 1027, and this is set. I've seen early on there few clouds just around. Yeah, back there we can see some, but nothing crazy. Pretty nice weather here at Copenhagen today. Right, okay, since this is looking good, let's fire up the APU, and then we basically just need to wait for GSX to finish the loading, and then we are good to go. Alright, boarding is completed, and so let's power on the APU bleed. External power can go, parking brake needs to be on, of course, and then let's make sure all the doors are closed. Like that, and then we can also disconnect the jetway. And traffic cones, wheel chocks, external power can all go away now, and that's looking good. Fuel pumps, beacons, and signs, of course, seat belts and non-smoking. Jetway is disconnected, so we are good to go. Let's ask for pushback. Let's see how this is working out. It's quite a tight apron here, so yeah, we don't have a lot of space to maneuver around. Let's see how good the pushback is. Yeah, very cool. I just saw this A340, company A340 taxiing out, so we will likely follow this guy. Let's see if he's using the same runway. I see that the route is sort of popping in and out. It's a bit of unsure what it needs to do here, I guess. All right. And starting the block time. Cool, and off we go. So let's fire up. Starting number 2. Okay, number 2's running, starting number 1. And yeah, pushback is working beautifully. Right on the center line. And yeah, that's the A330. There's a Singapore 777 also lining up for departure. So we are in some pretty good long-haul company today.
Confirmation for good engine start.
Just thinking about it, 777 from Copenhagen to Singapore, also quite a nice flight. I should be looking into doing that for some time in the future, maybe. Okay, just waiting. Yeah, there it is, a whale. So we have 2 good engine starts. This goes back to norm. I just want to see this 777 taking off. He must be quite heavy. I guess it's quite a journey. But nonetheless, early rotation. Beautiful stuff. Let's hope our takeoff is just as good as his. So APU goes off. And this goes to arm, flaps 2. This goes to max, and then flight controls for left. full right, neutral, full up, full down, and rudder, full left and full right. Trim should be up 2.3.
Left is clear.
There we are.
Right is clear.
And okay, all looking good. Let's pop on the weather radar. This can go to auto. Just scanning around, but everything's looking good. VORs are on, constraints are on. Cool. So taxi lights, turn off lights. And GSX is leaving the scene perfect, and we are good to go. So let's see if we have enough power to taxi on idle. Yeah, we do. Looks good. And now we will taxi out. Let's see, I haven't used the scenery so often yet, so not quite sure if we taxi ways. But I believe we can taxi out here on Delta and cross the runway. And then have a left-hand turn over there and then just follow down parallel to the runway, just as the A340 is doing just now. Ooh, he's quite ambitious here. Yeah, I'm just a bit unsure if this runway is in use right now. Looks quite empty to me. But nevertheless, we should pop the strobes on for crossing a runway. It's really beautiful scenery. I love the ground textures. Just looks stunning. And also the surrounding of the airport is really good. We will hopefully see it during departure, the famous bridge. Just forgot the name. I think it's down there. And then there's also the wind park out over the ocean. So really comes with a lot of extra features. Strokes back to auto. And yeah, there's some guy taxiing. What's that? An Air Baltic, I guess. -8. And this is only where the other runway starts or ends. 04 left ends over here, and that's, I think it's a 4-kilometer runway. So I imagine you have to taxi all the way down there. Probably takes like 15 minutes. Okay, so the A340 is all lined up. I've just checked on AI Companion. He's heading off to San Francisco, so on a little bit longer flight than we are. Yeah, some beautiful AI traffic action we are having here today. And we are also closing in on the runways, so let's do the TO config. Let's green. Let's pop on the transponder as well, so we can see what's going on there. And there's some guy coming in for landing. Okay. And also I was just double checking the departure chart, and it actually reads climb on the extended runway center line to 600 or 3 miles from Kilo Alpha Sierra, which is, I believe, the Castro VOR. Whichever is later. So I can see we have the Castro VOR dialed in on VOR 2 here. And yeah, so let's see. Whichever will turn out to be later, 600 feet or 3 miles. Just wondering if this guy is, yeah, he's on the other runway, perfect. Okay, that means we are all good to go. Cleared to enter the runway. Strobes, landing lights, takeoffs. Transponders on. Trim is set, flaps are set config 2, so all looking good.
Approaching 04 right.
So just the lineup, and then we are good to get rolling straight away, I believe. Now there's also a Norwegian Dreamliner taxiing out, if I am seeing that correctly. Very cool. Okay, so starting the timer, and then we can do a rolling takeoff.
Right.
Power coming in. Manflex, SRS, and runway. Cool, very nice. Quick wing view. It's a beautiful sound of these Rolls-Royce engines. And yeah, I can feel the wind pushing quite a bit from the left-hand side. There's that Dreamliner. It seems like takeoff calculations are quite spot on here. B1 and rotate. And we are airborne. Beautiful gears coming up. Okay, now let's monitor our flight path instead of having outside view today, although that is a beautiful and stunning departure. Okay, that's 600 feet and that's 3 miles, so it was sort of at the same time, and now we're good to do the left-hand turn. Oh, that's beautiful, and that's the wind farm down there I was talking about. Wow, that's just stunning. Love it. Let's keep it climbing. We don't need to accelerate just now. Oh, look at this, guys. I love the scenery. Beautiful stuff. Some textures are not really loading in, but other than that, performance is really smooth. Okay, climb power. And let's power on the autopilot, then we can enjoy the scenics a bit. Okay, this is going down. Oops, sorry. My bad. Didn't mean to extend them. And flaps 1. And flaps up. Very, very nice. And yeah, speeding up to 250 knots as there's no further speed constraints. Those lights can come off. Text lights come off. Yeah, and that's the waypoint, which apparently we have to overfly. And then we are good to do the left-hand turn, which will give us even more stunning scenics off to the left-hand side, I believe. And yeah, you know what, guys? Still quite low, 3,500 feet, but nevertheless all set in the cockpit. So let's enjoy this cruise and especially this departure. See you in a bit. So, welcome back to the flight deck, guys. We are descending into Washington, and currently we can't see much going through all the clouds around. But now up front we can see we are almost through, and it is a very, very long arrival route as we have it so often in the US. Today we are flying the Hyper 8 RNAV arrival, and that's huge. I think we entered the arrival at Barnes VOR, I think more than half an hour ago, something like that. It's really huge, and now we are actually on the last bit closing in on Mowat, and after that there's Hazel, where we want to be at 4,000, and then we just fly down parallel to the airport, and then eventually we will do a 180-degree right-hand turn, and then we will be on to ILS 01 right, so landing into a northern direction here. And a bit of leg spikes now, probably some scenery loading in and stuff like this. Right, and we are a bit above the profile, but that's totally fine, since anyway we are supposed to stay at this altitude for a very long time. So there's no problem being a bit higher for the moment. And there we can see the airport coming in, but we are going to land from the other side, so it's going to be a bit longer to fly. And regarding the weather, it's quite windy down in Washington. So here we can see it's 280 knots at 10 knots at 280, of course, but it's gusting to 17 knots, which means that's quite a considerable crosswind we will eventually get with 17 knots. And clouds are not too low, so that's fine. 14 degrees. So it might in fact get a bit bumpy on the final, and let's see about that. Now we are already at 4,000 feet, and let's see, I think for the final waypoint, Mosby, we want to be 3,000, so we can pretty much lose these 1,000 feet during the turn. If there's no traffic, we can also turn in on Wexen directly, and even from Wexen on, it's still gonna be, it's quite short, 4.5 mile final, so that's not too long. Let's see what the traffic is doing. I've set up my air traffic to around 60%. I think air traffic in the US is up a bit more than it is in Europe right now. I love these low-hanging clouds here, looks amazing. Other than that, I think autobrake low will do. It's a very long runway. And the last high-speed exit, which is Kilo 2, that would be perfect for us, since from there on it will only be a super short taxi. And in fact, since we have a bit of time now, I can already try to set up the gate. I haven't done this in a very long time, but I believe it would work. So some of the alpha gates, that should be big ones here, like alpha 26, 24, 26, that's perfect. United Airlines Starlines member, so I believe that's what Scandinavian would have as well. Okay, so that's done, and just cruising by the airfield now. So that's the airfield down to the right hand side, and now let's try to descend a bit lower, and then we can maybe have an early turn on the final approach. I think we can already arm these speed brakes like that, and everything else is looking good. Landing lights are on. It doesn't seem like these guys are coming in to land, so should be fine in that regard. Okay, so if we want to intercept Wexen, we need to be 1,900. Okay, and this seems like there's one guy coming in to land. Okay, so we will need to extend our heading a bit further, I believe. Yeah, there we can see him, although he is a bit high. Let's see if he's able to make this landing. Yeah, he's shooting in there like crazy. And yeah, let's arm the approach phase so we can slow down a bit, and that also helps us to burn a little bit less fuel on our way out here. Beautiful surrounding here, the Washington area. Not quite sure where the other airport is. It's somewhere, I believe the city is somewhere down there, and the airport is much closer to the city center, but not exactly sure where it is. Okay, let's turn right. We're easily below the glide slope, so that's no trouble at all. And 12 miles out, let's go flaps 1. Okay, then we can arm the approach mode. And yeah, for the final speed, so as already mentioned, we have gusting wind, so I put 10 knots on top. 142 will be the final approach speed. And yeah, I think auto brake 2 should do nevertheless. Should be fine. Okay, that's the localizer. Okay, and now we have a very nice 12-mile final down to the runway. Beautiful. Okay, glide slope is half down the indication, so let's go flap 2. And I think we can go speed 170 for a while until we are around 5 or 4 miles from the runway. Yeah, and we can already nicely see how the aircraft is pointing way left, and that's to the 20 knots of winds, pretty much coming in from the left. I know that there's this very sort of crazy arrival on runway 30, which is this one heading off to the left hand side, and I think it's a visual approach, so you actually fly the ILS down 201 right, but then before you get there you do like a right hand turn and swing around back to the left and land on 30. I've never tried in real life, so I'm not going to try it today.
2,500.
Like, of course not in real life, but I've never tried it before in the sim, that's what I meant. So I'm not going to try it today, but I believe it's a pretty fun arrival to fly when you know how it works. Okay, 6 miles out, let's drop the gear. Just checking, the go around altitude will be 3,000. It's perfect, can stay as it is. And turn-offs and takeoff lights. Flaps 3. And yeah, looks like all the traffic is gone. Here's vacate to the runway, that's perfect. Manage speed and flaps 4. Okay, landing no blue, and thus I can take the aircraft. And let's see how this works out with the rather stiff crosswind. Or now it's 10 knots, it's not too bad, but it might be gusting.
1,000.
wind is shifting and also picking up.
0, 1, right.
I believe these are the kind of conditions where we might even get like some bad wind just before touchdown and need to go around, but let's hope it's not happening today.
$500.
Very touch low, but still okay.
$400.
I should have looked up the crossing limitation for this aircraft before doing this approach.
300.
But now it's 10 knots, so that's definitely within the range.
200. Minimum.
Continue.
100.
Now some more wind, but it's okay.
50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 10.
Flare, and let's use the rudder
5.
a bit. Long landing. And there we are. Touchdown. Reverse. Okay. Decelerating. Okay, let's take the next high-speed exit, so idle forward manual braking. Cool, okay. Made it down, perfect. I think it was a very soft touchdown after all, although we had these gusting winds, so I'm quite happy with this one. Now it's gonna be a bit of a leg spike, very short taxi, so let's pop on the APU. Okay, retract the flaps and let's see where we are. So if we just continue to the right and then down Charlie, we will be quite close to the gate. Okay, this 777 is taking this gate over here and ours should be somewhere down there, I believe. Okay, and then also terrain, weather, and this goes back to TA. The brakes are very aggressive. Okay, that's Charlie, that's perfect. Right, and this goes off. Can't exactly remember the gate number I've picked, but we should see GSX somewhere. Alpha 26 it was, okay. Probably quite close to this Avianca. I'm quite sure that our gate should be somewhere here. I'm just wondering. Ah, that seems like GSX. At least the marshaller, but nothing else. Okay. That's quite interesting. So I believe it's a skewed one, right? So we go in from this direction. Okay, it's quite weird. I'm not sure if the airport config is correct here. I will probably need to look for a proper GSX config. Okay, but he is positioned correctly, so that's not too bad. Also the distance looks quite promising. Okay, let's hold it here. I think was not the best parking. And APU bleed goes on, and then we can kill engines 1 and 2. Like that. Let's see the landing rate. Was 187 feet per minute, and that's quite smooth. Perfect. And flight time 8:31, block time 8:49. Spot on with this one. I haven't stopped the flight time. Okay, and then the beacons, seat belts, fuel pumps go off, and yeah, that's looking good. So let's ask for deboarding. Maybe I should have selected the other door, but it is working. That's good. And now the doors, this one, and they are opening automatically. Perfect. Alright guys, and here we are. Welcome once again to Washington, and yeah, please excuse my parking. That was really not my best I had so far. But GSX is working, that's the most important thing. And yeah, some more heavies over here. Saudi Arabia and South African, also A330 200. Austrian 767, Avianca A320. Very nice stuff. Always nice to come to the Flightbeam Washington scenery. It's a pretty good one in my opinion. And yeah, so on this rather nice view, I'm gonna say goodbye for today. Thank you very much for tuning in as always, and yeah, hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.